Self-employment. I think you said self-improvement. Okay.
Oh, yeah. It's the same thing, actually.
You got one life, for crying out loud. You might as well just give it all you got.
The Deej, Dan Jourdan.
Your daily dose of reality. Your daily dose of the Deej.
I can't believe I'm saying this, but I need my daily dose of the Deej.
I make the news. I don't watch the news. I'm a leader.
The Sales Energizer, Dan Jourdan.
Listen, don't worry how to sell, baby. Worry about why people buy. And it's fun.
You don't need a 5-hour energy. All you need is the Sales Energizer.
Just when I think it's not going to be as fun as the one before, each one gets successfully better. What's the word I'm looking for? What's it going to take to get you into this car today, huh?
And now, please welcome the Sales Energizer, Dan Jourdan.
Boom! That's exactly it. Do that. Let's do that.
Let's do that.
I'm laughing because, I have no idea what I'm about to say. And I'm thinking, I should say something when I come on the show. And I'm looking out my window and there's a woman there. By the way, this is fake, but it really does look like that outside. And so I'm looking out my window and there's a lady taking a picture with her. She's a carriage. She's taking a picture. And I'm like, what is she taking a picture of? We got these turkeys. It used to be one turkey. And so everybody was like,
are these wild turkeys, or do you actually have turkeys like as pets, or you're grooming them for
it's a wild turkey.
Okay.
And because everybody's so nice to the turkey, they've gotten very aggressive. And so there's one pecking at my air conditioner unit over here. And they're like, they go in the street and they puff up to like a giant thing and they chase people down the street. They're very aggressive. And you know what? That's exactly how prospects or customers get. And if you're so lenient with them, if you're just so lenient and let them listen, if you let your prospects lead you, you're not making the sale.
And they're going to peck at your air conditioning unit.
And they're going to peck at your air conditioner all day long.
And it's like, advice.
And they're big, and it like makes noise. I guess I shouldn't call him a pecker, but he's pecking. I mean, that's not something you can do here.
It's really not. Yeah.
Mostly shows.
Yeah. It's only 2:00 in the afternoon on Friday afternoon in Atlanta, Georgia. So it's too soon to be talking about that.
Yes, we're here in beautiful, sunny Atlanta, Georgia. I'm just feeling all spring.
Where the skies are. Whatever happened to that intro from the Southern Command Center?
The skies are dripping with sales and good feelings. It's a good day to be alive. And for several reasons. One, it's spring. It like truly is spring. Two, if you have your health, you have hope. And if you have hope, you have everything. And so I talked to a guy yesterday who had a big corporate job or what have you. And then he called me and he says, I need some help, in coaching. And we said, let's get some kind of an assistant for you, a virtual assistant. And he's like, yeah, that'll be great. Cause I just got a new job. And I go, what's your new job? He goes, well, I bought a franchise. It's a mobile dog grooming franchise.
Oh, awesome.
And the thing is, he's like, I'm starting something new. He says, I feel like a kid again because it's like I have the energy that goes, and that's what kind of self-employment does for you. And as I'm having this call with this guy, I'm thinking, you know what? You're not going to believe it. Tomorrow, I'm actually going to be interviewing on the Dan Jourdan live show, quite possibly the premier expert on self-employment and franchise ownership right here on these airwaves.
The stars align on DJ Live. They align.
It's like it's like even better. As soon as you think things are good, they get even better. And today we're all going to get to share in the wisdom and kindness and overall sensibilities of my new friend, please help me welcome Jeffrey Lutz. Oh my gosh, you kept us there waiting.
Do I do boom now?
We do boom throughout the show. Boom whenever you want to boom.
Oh my gosh. So how was that? I always get a critique on my segue and intros for my guests. So of all the podcasts you've been on, how was that one as far as an intro?
Well, I don't know if I'm going to be able to live up to that, Dan. It was incredible. So thank you.
Well deserved. Well deserved. One of the things, and we'll get into business and all that stuff, but one of the things Chris Stone and Car Buying Public out there that I know about Jeff Lutz is that he practices what he preaches. When people are looking to buy a business and or get started, what have you, one of the biggest qualities that show success versus failure are just people who can make a decision and make a decision quickly. And Jeff and I got together in some business relationship, and he does that, and it's so refreshing. As a vendor, as a customer, as a coworker, to be working with people who can make decisions. And Jeff, let me ask you: is that a quality that you look for? And have you always been that way yourself, or did you need to develop that?
Yes, always look for somebody who can make decisions quickly. I've always been that way, and owning my own business for 18 years, my own franchise. You have to be able to make decisions quickly, decipher information, and trust your gut. So yes.
Yes, and that's cool. So so how long were you in business for yourself first?
Well, we owned a franchise, Dan, for 17 years. It was the Goddard School. And I've been consulting for the last 10. So about 10 years now. Your entire, you said 17 years. Was that your first job? Like, was that your first gig? No. Started off in the corporate America. Fortune 500s, worked for Honeywell, worked for Siemens, was in corporate America for about 25 years. I knew during that whole time working for corporate America, and I worked for some great companies. There was something missing. And I knew that I had more in me. I knew that I wanted to do more. So left corporate America for business ownership. Wow. You say it so flippantly. Yeah. So I left that and did that. But I imagine at that time, and I speak with a lot of real estate agents for other things, and they always say that, nothing happens alone. Like, nobody only buys a house. They're buying a house, they're having a baby, and they're losing a job, or they're finding a new job. There's always, like, in pairs. Actually, I said three, and then I said in pairs. But they're always in triads. Okay.
Sure. Triplets.
Yeah, but triad sounds cooler than triplets, doesn't it? I mean, you can get confetti for
triad. It's not accurate, but it does
sound
cooler. Yeah,
true.
So anyway, when you left your corporate job, I imagine you're married. I bet you had kids. They were grade school and all that stuff. How the heck did that go over? Because the first couple of years, you don't get a steady paycheck. How did that go over? It was a huge decision, filled with a lot of different emotions. You're right. I had two children, two little ones, and that's one of the reasons I left corporate, because in the positions that I was in, there was a lot of travel.
and we had a young family. My oldest at the time was 5, my youngest 3. But I had the support of my wife. She knew that there was just something that I needed to do. We went through the roller coaster, right? Lots of conversations, lots of conversations between her and I, conversations between, other support, that I have in my life. But it was a roller coaster.
Yeah. Well, tell me about that. I mean, roller coaster is just a word. What do you mean by that?
Just all different types of emotion, right? There's fear, there's angst, there is at the same time there's excitement, there is so just all kind, you name it, all kind. There's doubt, and one of the things that I'll never forget, one of my mentors at the time just asked me if I would bet on myself. And I had to take that to heart. And he said, if you can bet on yourself, it's a good bet. Wow. So I was able to, and don't get me wrong, even going in, leaving corporate America and doing this, I was betting on myself, but I also had the support of, the franchisor, right? I mean, I was not recreating the wheel. We had looked at starting a business, buying an existing business, and then I found franchising. And what was, really attractive to me and my wife in that is that, proven system, support, training. So it made that transition that much easier. You're in business. Going into this, I knew I was going to be in business for myself, but I wasn't in business by myself. And I look at a franchisor as I have this whole back office of support, whether it's operations, sales, HR, IT, right? So, and I had the bat phone, I called it, right? I was the bat phone away from picking up, and just saying, what do I do? Help me out. And that's what you're getting into with good franchising,
Well, that's the key, right? Is that, I think a lot of people, even in me a few years ago, I kind of went down that rabbit hole of, let me kind of investigate this. And then the more you do it, the more you realize how much goes into finding the right type of franchise, finding that, the bat phone, like the Batman, Batwoman, right, that you can call, that it does have that pre-existing system, but also can be not just freeing for you on a personal level, because you don't have to worry about all those things. You can focus on what you need to focus on, but also profitable, right? So what's that process look like when someone wants to really kind of find this perfect franchise? There's, there's all kinds of resources online, but who knows what, and there's rankings, right, and do I choose this? Do I choose that? How much does that research go into it, as well as maybe your passion for what you have to offer to that particular franchisor?
Yeah, great question. So, it's amazing how many people will come to us who they don't know exactly what they want. They've done a ton of research, and like you said, Chris, as you can go, the internet can take you down just so many different rabbit holes, and there's so much information. There's about 4,000 different franchises today. But what we focus on is what we call an alignment, right? We want to know, and it's important to know, what their work history is, and what their education is, and what have you. But there's so much more to a person. We take a very holistic approach. So not only do we want to know, what they're doing, what they did, their education. But we really want to get an understanding of who that person is. What their hobbies are, what their, what they believe their strengths and their weaknesses are. And what we do, all we do at Franchise City and Pinnacle Franchise Group is, we research and monitor and track franchising, whether it's an emerging brand, whether it's an established brand, and we know what they're looking for in what they call an ideal candidate. So through this alignment, we're able to really narrow down the right industry, the right model, meaning, are they looking to be an owner operator? Are they looking for semi-absentee, fully absentee? And so the right model and the right brand, right? Depending on the industry, we'll take, one, for instance, would be, senior, in-home senior care. 10,000 people turn 65 every day. And there are a lot of senior care opportunities, franchise opportunities. Not all of them are good. Just like, corporate America, it's like not all businesses are good, right? Not all companies are good. So we really vet those who have the best training, the best support, who validate well, meaning when you talk to their franchisees, they validate very well. When you ask them, would you do this again? Are you profitable? What is the franchisor's support and training like? So we take them through this process to help them understand and align them with, the industry, the model, and the brand that has the highest probability of their success.
Yeah. So you basically have an advocate for you, to lead you to making the right decision. And the benefit of this is, if you were to go directly to the franchisor, you're not saving any money. It's not like they charge you. So how do you get paid? You get paid. Well, what you tell me, how do you get paid?
Exactly. So what we're seeing today, just like in corporate America, is a lot of franchisors today are outsourcing their candidate acquisition, and they will outsource it to companies like ours, Pinnacle Franchise Group. And we are I always like to make a, very similar analogy to an executive recruiter. Right. So corporate America has a budget for their recruiting for the year, as do franchisors. So you're absolutely right, Dan. You don't save any money by going direct. We get paid by the franchisor a finder's fee if we bring them a candidate that is awarded a license.
Yeah. And so you really have somebody that is on your side by working with a franchise broker like you. You have somebody that's on your side because you'll learn the same. If it's this one or that one, doesn't matter. If the person goes direct to one, they're selling their thing. They don't earn any money if you go somewhere else. So it really
exactly.
It's crazy. Even if you're just if you're thinking about, a self-employment in any capacity, even starting your own thing. Step one, in my opinion, is call somebody like you.
Well, and exactly. We are agnostic to the industry, the model, and the brand, right? We are customer or candidate focused, right? So we really dial into what is going to be the best fit for our candidate. And, and it's got to be a good marriage. A lot of people don't realize that there's about a 30% decline rate in franchising. So what we're trying
what does that mean?
Declining.
That means that they won't even get, they won't be awarded a license. They will not be invited. Right. So there's about a 30% decline rate.
If
And
they're not financially suitable for that place,
it
or
could
what
be
have you.
financially, it could be, it could be their personality. It
Oh
could
yeah,
be
that was my question. Like the qualification process
Well,
to get, like you might find what you think is a good fit, but that particular franchise somehow, even if they've got the money, they're actually turning these people away.
yes, yes.
Yeah,
I've
it's so
seen that happen
like
numerous
senior
times.
care. You talked about senior
Oh,
care, which
right,
is a
right.
big money making opportunity. But if you hate old people, it's probably not good
Well,
for you.
Exactly. And
you're about to be one, Dan. So yeah.
it's funny
It's
that
all
you say
relative.
that, because one of the things, and since we're on this topic, one of the things about senior care is you really have to have compassion for the elderly, right?
And patience.
And tremendous amount of patience. And so, if you're not compassionate about what it is you're doing, especially in that senior care, industry, it's not going to be, and it's probably not going to be a good fit.
Yeah.
So,
Well, along those lines, business ownership, it's kind of in your blood. You mentioned your children earlier. What stage of life are they in, or are they considering self-employment as well?
so I have my oldest daughter is graduating in May. Thank God. She did it. Yeah.
Wait, grade school, high school, college, grad school?
College. I'm
Oh, that's a
sorry.
great
Yeah,
feeling.
both of my daughters. I have two daughters, 22 or 23 and 21, both in college. My oldest graduates in May. She is a criminology forensics major. And then my youngest is an architect. She's an architect student. So, but I think, my father was a small business owner. My grandfather was a business owner. So it's in our blood. And so we'll see where, their paths take them. One of the things that we are seeing a lot more inquiries are kids, young adults graduating from college who aren't sure, if they can get a job in their field. So we are seeing a lot more kids who are graduating looking at going into business ownership. So it's a
Interesting.
possibility, and you never know. Our message to our kids are, you're gonna find your way. I was just having this conversation with my daughter the other night, and the expectation seemingly is unrealistic a lot of times with these kids getting out of college. They think that they're going to land their the high paying, their ideal job, right? And I just, it's funny. It's like you got to pay your dues. You
That's right.
have to pay your dues, and the more you recognize what's not a good fit for me, brings you closer to what is, right? So there's things that they have to go through before they're able to land that perfect job or what have you. So
Generally in franchising, you were talking about employment and people coming out of college, and I would suspect in a lot of franchises, if they're restaurants or things like that, these are some quote unquote entry level jobs. Do you think overall franchising is seeing somewhat of a decline or more of a struggle in trying to find people to be employed in particular franchises?
You're talking workforce, right, Chris?
Correct. Yeah.
Yeah. We are in a very, very tight labor market. There's not one industry that I know who isn't hiring. Honestly, I mean, IT, of course, you're seeing some layoffs with some of the bigger, larger companies. But yes, so to answer your question, yes. And one of the key points, and that is always a question we get. What about employees? How do we find them? They hear on the internet or they see or what have you, is that there is this, it's hard to find employees. And what, and this is true. And I heard this years ago, and I can tell you, we employed it at our, with our business, is that there is a shortage, but you have to become the employer of choice. There's employees out there, and, they usually leave for, a couple reasons. One, they don't feel valuable, not respected, not climbing the ladder fast enough, those kinds of reasons. But you have to be the employer of choice. And by being the employer of choice, your bench should be pretty strong.
Tactically, how do you do that?
Well, with the help of the franchisors, they really help you identify what it is that you are going to need to offer, the kind of work environment, the kind of wages, the kind of benefits that this, good employees are looking for. So they help you design, the benefits package, the wage, the wage rates and what have you. And then it goes much deeper than that. It goes to recognition programs, right? And bonus programs. We used to have bonus programs for everybody in our organization. We had, 20, at one time we had 25 teachers, and they were all incentivized, whether that was because they had a great, what we would always, get what Goddard has what they call quality assurance standards and what have you. And they would go around to every room and make sure that, everything was set up the way it should be. All the children's files were, up to date, and medications and what have you. And if they've got a high score on their quality assurance, they would get a bonus. So
a monetary bonus or recognition bonus?
Monetary bonus. It usually was a monetary bonus. It was, or we would do things like, a massage, right? We would, a spa day for the teacher, we would do those kinds of things. Just to keep them engaged, to keep them understanding what the vision and what the goal of our job and their job is, and continued to be. And ours was, of course, providing the best early childhood education environment in the community. So really, and then having people buy into that is key. And the only way they're going to buy into that is if they feel valuable, they feel recognized, in an integral part to the business.
Yes. So now that is what you're describing is a good leader. And so those are the qualities. One of the major qualities that somebody needs, to go into business too. What do you think is another quality that that someone who's working but has certain skills should consider self-employment? Or if they're coming to you, what are you looking for aside from that?
Well, leadership, of course, like you said, there's no question. One of the things that is very, very important is that you have to be egoless.
Egoless.
Egoless. Yes, your ego so you have to be able to understand your limits, your capabilities, what you're good at as a leader, what you're not good at as a leader, and then hire those people who have those expertise, have that expertise. No
Okay.
question.
Right.
So
You
hire
have
people that are better than you.
you have to surround, right. You have to let your ego, because, many times as a business owner, especially small business owners, you think that you have to have the answer to everything. You have to be,
Or do everything,
or
right?
do everything, have the answers. And, you know, I learned a lesson, this is a long time ago, is bringing those, like we had a director and an assistant director and what have you. We would always involve them in any decisions that we had to make and get their opinion, get their feedback, and have grown up discussions about things that sometimes difficult conversations, but we always had them included in these conversations and decision making. I mean, ultimately, it was, we were the ones who made the final call, but it was not without a lot of feedback from, really smart and dedicated people.
But I got it, and but that's the fun stuff. I mean, that's the stuff that people like doing when they're in business. The reality is, as I see it, the first couple of years, you can't. There's one aspect of the business that you need to call it a business, and that's customers. So, when you're first getting started, you're just hustling, just getting more customers. You don't have time for all those strategic meetings and things like that, which is the benefit of having that support staff behind you.
No question.
So, when you explain the first couple of years to somebody new, what can they expect?
A lot of change, right? It's going to be a lot of change in, what they've done, more than likely, on a daily basis. So patience, trust, and knowing that they've done all of their, research and due diligence, understanding that, what it is they're getting into. We go through a day in a life, right? When we are presenting to candidates, those franchises that they align well with, we always provide what a day in a life of this, ownership of this business is going to be like. So they have to go in eyes wide open. They have to go in knowing that there are going to be things that are going to come up that they're going to have to deal with.
Can you give me an example?
Well, in our situation, like in the early childhood education, one of the things that sort of shocked us was that parents. Kids
This is our show. It's okay.
Yeah.
You can say anything you want.
So we had a parent come in one day to us. Our theory was that kids need to be, they need to be introduced to, they have to be outside and play. They have to learn how to be inside and communicate and what have you, right? You'd be surprised at how many parents would come to us and say, well, my son got dirty today on the playground. And that's why we ask you to bring extra clothes and what have you, but just expectations of parents. So, and expectations of customers. You have to be able to, meet those types of conversations with understanding, with we've got this, we'll take care of it, we understand, leaving them with a sense of, all right, I trust that these guys are going to take care of my child, right? But yeah, there were many things that we were faced with, that you just and sometimes you just have to say, I'll get back to you. I'm not sure how to handle this, but we'll take care of it.
So why do you throw mud at all your students? Like what's I don't know why that's a part of the Goddard School curriculum.
Yeah.
Yeah.
And it wasn't just outside. I mean, we had parents that didn't want their kids to get dirty in class. Like, we would use finger paints and different things like that. And parents would have a problem with dirt and getting, their children's clothes dirty.
Yeah, I heard somebody. Well, I used to be a business broker. I would help with very similar, but we didn't sell franchises. And I had one of my guys actually say to me, he goes, this business would be great if it weren't for all those darn customers. It's the exact one. So that's how it works. And really, it's a different mindset. I would tell people when you're looking to buy a business, go ahead and work there. Or just get a job, even just sweeping floors at some place. You'll learn more in 2 weeks than you will in 2 years looking at income statements and balance sheets and income statements and balance sheets and P&Ls, let's say. But yeah, so you really got to get in there and just mess it up, because all of those issues that happen, someone doesn't show up,
right?
So a window gets broken. I had, when I had DJ's Country Deli, I had somebody, I called I needed a garbage next door, one of those container garbages. So I called the local disposal company, and they said, "Oh, I was in New Jersey." He goes, "Oh no, you got to work with Fusco." And I said, "What do you mean? What if I want to use you guys?" Use guys. I go, "What if I want to use you guys?" And he said, he goes, "Then you'll get your windows broken." I said, "Okay, I'll use Fusco." So little things you got to use.
You have to be right. That's the thing, is that you have to be able to take, get information of a situation and evaluate it quickly. So we had a situation one time, Dan, where there was a water main break right down the street from us, our location, and we had to shut the school down because we had no water. And people don't understand, and parents are dropping their kids off to try to get to work. This water main break happened like 30 minutes before we were supposed to open. Parents were coming in and we had to turn them away. And you want to talk about a difficult situation, because these people now, they're like, well, what do I do? And they were mad at us, and we had to, try to help them understand this is not, we didn't do this. And if you have no water, you can't operate especially in a you've got no toilets, you've got no running water, you've got so you just have to be able to pivot quickly and deal with some frustrated we had to deal with some frustrated parents numerous times. We had one time where we had a severe snowstorm, ice storm, and they called a level 1 emergency. We had to call parents and tell them that it's time to come and pick up because they're shutting us down. They don't want us on the roads. So you have to, come and pick them up. Boy, they were not happy about that. But
it was level 1. I mean, sometimes I get a level 3 with Chris Stone. I come in slightly late, and he's like
DEFCON 4.
DEFCON 4. But so Jeff, I want to know. So when somebody, I want to know what. If you've ever turned anybody away and you're like, this isn't for you, or you've seen somebody and you're like, man, you need to do something for yourself. You're not meant for the corporate world.
that's part of the process that we go through, Dan, and that's a really good question. So yes, there's been numerous times where we have had to come back to a candidate and just, say, listen, it might, it's going to be best for you to stay in a W-2 position. And they're difficult situations, but we let them know that what we're trying to do as part of this alignment is to really get an understanding if they've got what it takes to be an entrepreneur. So we've had to tell numerous people it's not, and we've
it's
had
the best thing. It's the best thing you could do for them. You're saving their marriage. You're saving their life.
Yeah.
It's so much. If people aren't made for it, because you don't realize how much a business owner gets beaten up. I mean, they think that, customers are always, general population, always worried about getting ripped off. Listen, I pay too much. I'm not getting away.
Right.
Man, small businesses get ripped off all day, every day. It's like crazy. So I had somebody come into my deli. This is the first time I learned it. You talk about having no ego. This is, I was in a DJ's Country Deli, and this guy, usually like a Subway, like a Subway, you make a sandwich and you get, meat, and then you put all the stuff on it. It's almost like a salad on top of your sandwich, right? Well, this guy he wanted nothing, but he wanted a separate salad, because he says, I'm already paying. You put it on their sandwich. Anyway, so it was like, we knew what he was doing. And so I said, all right, whatever. What else do you want? I'll put it all there. And so I get to the checkout, and I say to him, I said, this whole thing comes to X amount, but here's the thing. I'm going to give it to you for free, but your payment is you never come back here again. It was because I figured it cost me $15, but this guy was going to rip me off for the rest of my life. I don't need it.
Yeah.
And so, but things like that happen all the time.
And Jeff, that happened in the 50s. Imagine the way it is now.
Oh, no question. No question. We've had situations when at the school where we, when somebody comes in to tour our facility or what have you, there's always an interviewing process, and we open it up and tell them, bring your son or daughter in, spend a little bit of time in the classroom and what have you prior. There were a few times where we've had to, tell a parent, we just don't think this is the right setting. Very, very difficult conversations, awkward, but you have to be able to do that. I mean, it's part of, and doing that, I'm saving, I'm keeping a teacher, because, if we're bringing somebody in that has a behavioral problem or different things, that makes it that much more difficult for the teacher who, depending on the age ratio is, 1 to 10. And by doing that, the teachers understand that we really are concerned about their well-being and their ability to manage their classroom, right? So you can't always look at, oh, wow, that's, if I don't enroll that guy or that little girl, I'm losing $1,000 a month or whatever.
Yeah, everybody needs to experience self-employment once or twice in their life, because it gives you a whole new perspective being on the other side of the counter. And you're there to serve, and you're held accountable to the marketplace. It's the most delicious and perfect thing about America, being held to account to the marketplace. And so I think it's great. So very quickly, we're running out of time.
And we do have a question as well from LinkedIn, but go ahead.
Oh, a LinkedIn question. Okay, well, I'll forget mine. Here we go.
So Payush says, I believe that fostering collaboration is essential, as I'm based in India, where redundant resources are available at competitive prices. I am keen to explore potential opportunities for us to collaborate. I would appreciate hearing your insights on potential areas for cooperation. Thank you.
Well, why don't we do this? What are the hot franchises now? Like, what are the ones that somebody like Peyush would want to get involved in?
So what we look at is there's hot franchises in every industry. What we're looking at right now is what industries have the sustainable growth for the next 10 to 20 years. Okay, so we look at the industry first. So anything in anti-aging, anything in in-home senior care, health and wellness, health and fitness. Believe it or not, handyman, anything that has to do with home services are just, going, they're off the charts. So we look at the industries that are showing the most potential and most sustainable growth. And then within those industries, we break it down to who are the best, who are the top in those industries. And then, so that's how we approach it, is to look at, the industry and then the brand within the industry.
So if you were picking a business for Chris Stone right now, let's say, what industry would you suggest? What are you attracted to?
What am I attracted to? I'm attracted to alternative healthcare, anything that is helping. We all want to look and feel and stay young, right? And it is a market that as more advancements in different types of healthcare, alternative healthcare, like regenerative medicine. Okay, that's one is huge. People they want to feel better, they want to look better. So I love home services. I really like anything that has to do with health and wellness and alternative healthcare.
Oh, got
home
it.
services. Yeah.
How's your health? You doing good?
I'm doing great. I feel good. I feel good.
You look good. You look healthy.
Well, so do you. It's all that good living, right? All the good living I'm doing, right?
That's it.
Knowing guys like you keeps me smiling. So.
Yeah, it keeps your arms in the air and smiling. So
Yeah.
I'm playing around here with your franchise power search results.
Okay.
There's 77 franchises here under the in the power search.
Yep.
Under which you had said, which was health related. So there's a bunch here. I'm not familiar with some of these, which could be a good thing, because that may mean that there's a place nearby me. Blue Frog, I'm familiar with, but this is interesting. So you do these searches and you go through it and you say, okay, cool. Now maybe I call Jeff, and then we figure out where we go from here in order to qualify for this stuff. Is that how this works?
Yeah, absolutely. If you go to the website, you'll be able to search different industries, and then within those industries, the different brands. And then we can, walk you through that process of what it's going to take to get you a seat at the table to talk about a license and becoming part of that franchise.
Now, do you talk to anybody, or just good-looking people like Chris Stone?
Only good-looking people. Only good-looking people.
Yeah, you're out of luck, Dan. So what's the difference between Pinnacle Franchise Group and Franchise City?
So Franchise City is they do all of our video, they do all of our SEO, they take care of all of the like this site, right? You can go to this site, pull this up. You can also go to Pinnacle Franchise Group as well. But they do the videos, they do all of our Google ads, they do all of that.
Got it.
Okay, they move them over there. Who does your podcasts?
Well, you do.
Excellent answer.
Yeah.
Cast ahead, Chris Stone and Cast Ahead is his best job. Well, I think that's excellent. Listen, this actually is, I know I'm joking around, but it's really something I'm passionate about self-employment and people getting on their own. I may have told you that story. Chris Stone's sick and tired of hearing about my dad, telling me, basically, Danny, if you have in this country, if you have a job, you have one customer and he's called the boss, and he decides to fire you, you got nothing. But if you're self-employed, well, then you have 100 bosses, but they're called customers. Yep. And if one of them fires you, who cares? You got 99 more. But the other one that really hit me is when he said, it gives everybody chills. He says a salary is the drug that your employer gives you so you'll forget your dreams. And people will live that their entire life, because a lot of people have good jobs. They have good paying jobs, and they're lucky to have it, and they have a family, and they have expenses, and they have all that stuff. But they are limitless in what they can have, but they can't give that away. It's like, it's shackles. And so the freedom that they could feel, and I think if you can get freedom that way and reduce the risk, are there any statistics with the success rate of a franchisor versus someone who goes it alone?
Yeah, there's a lot. And if you look at, we like to look at the statistics: 1 year, 3 years, 5 years, 7 years. If you look at that 3-year mark, actually all the marks, but we really like to look at that 3rd year mark. The success rate of franchising comparatively to independence is in the 90%. Not only are they successful, they're profitable comparatively to independence. So there is, it's proven that, franchising is definitely more, you have a higher probability of staying in business and being profitable with a franchise, especially at those key marks, 3, 5, 7.
Well, wonderful. Well, I can't thank you enough. I think this was great to have you here today. You did great. You were nervous. How'd you do? How'd you enjoy it?
I loved it. And I really like what your father said, because, Dan, that's one of the biggest hurdles we have is people who have that, high wage earners. They are addicted to that paycheck, right? That is the drug. And that is the hardest thing to overcome. And they don't understand a lot of how they're going to be, paid as a business owner. Like, they don't understand what owner distributions are, right? You're not giving yourself in many cases, you're not giving yourself a W-2. You're doing owner distributions, the tax benefits, and all the other things that go along with it. So, it is, it's been great to be on with you, and I enjoyed all the questions.
Well, we'll do that. And is Chris Stone not amazing?
Yeah, I mean, outstanding.
This is as good as, your entire company can have this too for the low price. So we'll talk to you later about it. Well, listen,
and you made a new friend that you're going to have to contact here, Payush. I hope I got your name right. Wants to connect and speak more thoroughly about it.
So we'll do that. We'll get you set up. And so thanks so much. We'll stay in touch forever. Chris Stone, once again, are you kidding me? I mean, it gets better and better every single time.
When you have guests like Jeff, it makes my job easier.
Shucks.
See? All right.
Goes around.
All of you people who are watching or will watch in the future, I wish nothing but good things to happen to you for the rest of your lives. Eat well, live long, and prosper. Go get them today.
Go get them.